Hello, everyone. Today I'm with Jesse Madden. We're going to talk about the top five quarterbacks in this draft and share our opinions on who is. So, thank you for joining me today, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you for having me as always, Nathan.
Anytime. You want me to go first or you?
You can go first.
All right. So, my first quarterback I have is Malik Willis from Liberty. I think that he's a really good quarterback. I think he meets the physical check boxes to be an NFL quarterback, and he's very athletic. And when you look at the NFL, there's a lot of quarterbacks now they're using with their legs and their arms. And I think that he can be a good NFL quarterback, and that he's the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. My number one quarterback is Matt Corral, and that is because he competed in the SEC every week for 3 years, and I was super impressed. He can move, make all the throws you need to make, and with this draft class, I don't really expect any of these guys to be NFL superstars or faces of the franchise. I just expect these guys to be key role starters, and a few of them possibly will be franchise quarterbacks. And I just feel like Matt Corral was that at Ole Miss, and I feel like he will be that for any NFL team that drafts him. And everybody knows the story about him in the bowl game. You know, he wanted to play for his teammates, and I feel like that goes a long way into showing how much he cares about football and how much he cares about, his team. And I feel like that'll help him in the NFL for sure.
I agree with the fact that probably none of these quarterbacks will be superstars and Pro Bowl quarterbacks. But yeah. My number two quarterback is Kenny Pickett from Pitt. I like what he did at Pittsburgh, leading them to the ACC championship, because personally, I don't think that Pittsburgh would have won the ACC without him. And then he wasn't the biggest quarterback when he was coming out of high school, but then he really developed. And I remember watching his first start against Miami when they were undefeated, and he led them to that upset. He's just a good quarterback, and he's a competitor. He does crazy stuff like that fake slide earlier in the year and was a Heisman finalist. So I think he's the number two quarterback off the board.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett is also my second quarterback, and I like him because week in, day in and day out, he played really well in the ACC and led them to a conference championship. That tells a lot. As a quarterback, you got to be a leader. You got to win games, and he did that at Pitt. And he's very athletic and can make all the throws. He doesn't have the arm strength of a Matt Corral or a Patrick Mahomes type, but I believe he can make all the throws to be successful in the NFL.
I agree, and he vowed, because how when they lost to Clemson in the ACC championship, he vowed to bring them back to that game and win, and he did that. My number three quarterback is Matt Corral. I think he's a good quarterback. He can make all the throws as well. He was earlier in the season, he was a Heisman leader, and I think he's a good quarterback at Ole Miss. I hope the injury doesn't affect him too much, but I think he should be good.
Yeah, for my number three, I'm gonna go with Malik Willis, and he has a rocket arm and is very athletic, and really blew everybody out at the combine. And people are saying he was the best quarterback there. But I will say, games aren't won at the combine. Games are won during the season, so I'm not gonna let that performance go too far into how many games he's gonna win as an NFL quarterback, or how successful he's gonna be. But he does have all the athletic ability in the world to be an amazing NFL quarterback, and that's why I will have him being the third quarterback off the board in this class. And I do believe he will be successful in the NFL wherever he ends up.
I think he started at Auburn, or he didn't start, but that's where he transferred from, I believe.
Yeah, he transferred from Auburn and then went to Liberty.
My number four quarterback is Sam Howell. I always thought, he always had the high expectations going into each college season. He has a great arm, but North Carolina kind of disappointed in the seasons. He didn't necessarily live up to the hype that they had him some of the seasons as a team, but I still think he can be a solid quarterback in the NFL. He throws for a lot of touchdowns. I think if he gets to a good situation, he'd be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, Sam Howell's an interesting one because you're right. Before every season, everybody had him as like a Heisman dark horse, and he's never really lived up to it. But for my number four quarterback, I'm going to someone who really did live up to the expectations, and that's Desmond Ritter. And that, he's just a winner. He led an American Conference team to the college football playoff, and they beat Notre Dame. Last year they were undefeated and lost to Georgia in a thriller in their bowl game. And then this past season, he led them undefeated again and into a college football playoff appearance. And I just really love his ability to compete and win in every game he played in. He's one of the winningest quarterbacks in college football history. And I feel like he's pretty undervalued going into this draft. And like I said, I don't know if any of these guys will be superstar quarterbacks, but I do think that having a guy who has proven he can win at the highest level of college football, having that in your locker room, maybe for depth reasons, I feel like he'll be great and he'll have a long NFL career and he'll be able to prove the doubters wrong.
And he definitely probably, he has the confidence because he knows he can win at any level.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 5 quarterback is Desmond Ritter. I have him, like you mentioned. He has the third most wins out of any college football quarterback. He led Cincinnati to a 44-5 record. He never lost at home. They had 2 undefeated seasons. And then this college football playoff, they could have beat Alabama. They had the chances. It's close, and he's very athletic. He ran a fast combine time, and I just think he can be a good quarterback in the NFL.
For my number 5 quarterback, I have Carson Strong out of Nevada, and I have him because I've seen him play a lot. I think he played in games his freshman year and started his sophomore year and started 3 years at Nevada, and he really threw the ball a lot. They run that air raid offense with Coach Norvell, and I think he was very well coached, obviously, in college and had a great career at Nevada and put up great numbers, played in a lot of games. He also has that prototypical size. He's a big dude, 6'4", 6'5", has a great size, and I think he'll last a long time in this league just because of that, because he has that experience. He's definitely a smart guy, and he can run it. He can tote the rock a little bit as well, and so I think he'll also have a successful career.
And yeah, Nevada, they had all those receivers putting up like great stats because of him. Like I remember Torrey Horton.
Yeah, no, they run a great offense over there, and their coach actually is now at Colorado State. Yeah, so they'll run that offense over there. We actually played Colorado State week 1 this season.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for joining me today, Jesse.
Yeah, of course, Nathan. Anytime.